Admiral Elena Rodriguez stood on the command deck of the battleship Nova, her gaze fixed on the holographic projection of the approaching enemy fleet. The Zorathi Armada, a relentless force from a distant galaxy, had cut a swath through human colonies, leaving destruction in their wake. Now, they were headed straight for Earth. "Status report," Elena commanded. "Enemy fleet will breach Earth's defense perimeter in 1 hour," replied Lieutenant Kamal, his fingers dancing over the control panel. "They're jamming our long-range communications. We're on our own." Elena took a deep breath. "Activate the orbital defense grid. Inform all ships to prepare for engagement. This is where we make our stand." Across the bridge, technicians and officers moved with practiced urgency. The hum of the ship's reactors intensified as power levels spiked. On the view screen, the enemy ships appeared as a swarm of glinting daggers against the darkness of space. Dr. Ava Chen, the ship's science officer, approached Elena. "Admiral, I believe I may have found a weakness in their formation. If we concentrate our fire on these coordinates," she pointed to a cluster on the hologram, "we might disrupt their shields long enough to break their advance." Elena nodded. "Good work, Dr. Chen. Relay that data to the fleet. All units, synchronize your targeting systems." The Nova led the charge, its cannons unleashing torrents of plasma that illuminated the void. Explosions rippled through the enemy ranks, but the Zorathi pressed forward, returning fire with lethal precision. "Shields at 60%, shouted Lieutenant Kamal. "Divert auxiliary power to the shields," Elena ordered. "We can't afford to falter." Suddenly, an enemy beam struck the nearby cruiser Endeavour, tearing it apart in a blaze of light. The crew watched in horror as debris scattered, the loss palpable. Dr. Chen's voice cut through the tension. "Admiral, the Zorathi are deploying a planet cracker weapon. If it reaches optimal charge, Earth is finished." Elena's mind raced. "Options?" A young engineer, Ensign Martinez, spoke up. "We could initiate a warp core overload. The resulting explosion might be enough to neutralize their weapon." Elena met his eyes. "That would destroy the Nova." He swallowed hard. "Yes, Admiral." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. Elena looked at the faces of her crew, brave men and women who had given everything for this moment. She straightened her uniform. "Begin preparations for warp core overload. Dr. Chen, transmit all our battle data to Earth's Defense Command. They need to know what we're doing." As the crew set to work, Elena opened a ship-wide channel. "This is Admiral Rodriguez. In a few moments, we'll execute a maneuver that will save Earth but cost us our lives. Your courage and dedication have brought us to this point. It has been my honor to serve with you all." The Nova surged forward, engines burning at maximum. Enemy fire pummeled the ship. But it held together, a spear aimed at the heart of the Zorathi fleet. "Approaching detonation point," Lieutenant Kamal reported, his voice steady. Elena took a final look at the blue-green sphere of Earth, serene amidst the chaos. "Initiate warp core overload. All hands, brace for impact." The reactor's hum escalated into a piercing whine. In a blinding flash, the Nova exploded, a supernova of energy that engulfed the enemy fleet. Shockwaves rippled through space as the Zorathi ships disintegrated, their planet cracker weapon vaporized. On Earth's surface, people gazed up as the night sky lit up, unaware of the sacrifice made on their behalf. Weeks later, at a memorial service in the United Earth Council chamber, Dr. Chen, one of the few survivors rescued by escape pods, stood before a somber assembly. "Admiral Rodriguez and the crew of the Nova gave their lives so that we might live," she said, her voice echoing in the hall. "Their heroism reminds us that the price of freedom is high, but it's a price we're willing to pay. As she stepped down, a holographic monument was unveiled, depicting the Nova soaring into the stars. Below it, an inscription read, "They gave us tomorrow." In the quiet that followed, a transmission was received, a message from distant allies inspired by humanity's stand. Reinforcements were on their way, and with them, hope for lasting peace. Back on the remnants of the Nova, floating among the stars, a small emergency beacon blinked. Inside, a recorded message from Admiral Rodriguez played on a loop. As long as there are those who value freedom, darkness will never prevail. And so the legacy of the Nova lived on.